I have made this topic very, very simple for everybody to understand as it is a public lecture. And at the end of the lecture, you are free to disagree with me. I like people when they disagree. That's where there's a more debate and more learning, and we can improve things. So let us see what we are trying to do in this talk. In this talk, it is a debatable. So you think it carefully and you see that you agree or not. If you agree, it's fine. If you don't agree, and then we will see that how to improve it. So let us come to this business intelligence. It is about knowing customer needs. So anything I say, you might think it's obvious, but it's not that obvious. If it is that easy, our businesses would not fail. So business intelligence is information that you can transform into developing a product. We can get information, but we just don't know how to apply, how to make a strategy. So I want to keep it very, very simple. And remember one thing, business intelligence means you are getting information from the data, from the database, from the analysis for only one reason, and that is to develop a product. So that's what it is in general, if you just want to know this. But we have here, why we are talking business intelligence now. If you come to North America, we talk a lot about business intelligence all the time. In fact, we have a people on a full-time basis who do data analysis all the time. This is becoming very important because of the globalization, because of the internet. So people can compare the prices, and you have to be competitive. If you are not competitive, they will go somewhere else. So that's the problem we have, that we need to be competitive in general. When I say competitive, which means your product in your company, can you tell me only one word or one sentence about your company or about your brand, what it stands for? Most people cannot say that. You know what they will say? Oh, it is good in quality. It's a good, it's a very nice. It has a quality, but you don't know what is quality. You have to tell me what your competitors cannot tell me. If your competitors say that they also have a quality and you have a quality also, it does not matter. So we need to, I will come back to all those things what I'm trying to get at. But the point I'm trying to make is that we need to have a competitive advantage. And this talk is about how to get that competitive advantage. And you will see that. But in order to have a product, suppose you have intelligence, I need to develop a new product. But you don't know how to do it. So you need to have a capability. So to have a capability, we can do here, we have two strategies here. One, what we call it a market orientation. I will come back to that. And other one is outsourcing. Market orientation is something like trying to find the need of the market, which is a very specialized form of business intelligence. So when you know what your customers' needs are, most companies are short-sighted. What they will do, they will give a questionnaire and they will ask them, what do you like, what you don't like? But if you do that, you cannot develop a new product. I can tell you, it's my view. You can do it, at the most what you can do is that you can make an incremental change in existing product. You would not be able to develop a brand new product like iPhone. You would not be able to do it. That has to come from your own R&D people. They can tell all those things. So market orientation or market-oriented company is the company that would not only try to discover the current needs of the customers, but also the future needs in 3 years' time, 4 years' time, in 5 years' time, and maybe even 10 years' time. I will give you an example. But I want to define first what is market orientation. So market orientation is meeting a customer needs. So you have to meet customer needs, you see. But it can be very, very problematic. It can be very problematic to become a market-oriented. Market-oriented means you are trying to develop a product that customers want. Or even if they don't know, we have to create a need for that. It may be expensive to do it. Why expensive? Because you will have to learn how to do it. So it will be expensive. And it is even more challenging in countries like Ghana or developing countries or emerging markets. Why? Because people may not be willing to pay high price. You are not willing to pay high price, and I want to give you what you want because it is a new product, it's a more fixed cost, so it will be difficult, so it will be challenging. But we must not stop from developing a new product. I had to develop it. So we have to go a way around it, and that is outsourcing. So I will come back to that. But the point here is that we need to be market-oriented. We need to offer what customers want, not only now, but they will need it. I will give an example, even in my own setting, in a university. I know where my university is going, what we need to do. So that's what we need to do here. I wanted to give you some examples of companies that are very successful in developing a market-oriented product at a very low cost. Very, very low cost. And take example of this car. I don't know if you know this car. Okay, some of you might know. This is the cheapest car in the world. Only $3,000, brand new. Brand new car. But what happened is that, so how did we do it? Before, what we used to do is that when we make a car, we will add all the cost of the steering, cost of the wheel, cost of the engine. Let's add all the cost, plus 60% retailer's margin and transportation, and here is the final cost of $30,000. We don't do that anymore. In order to keep the cost low, what we do is that we fix a selling price first. So suppose I say $5,000, and then you work out backwards how many parts you need. Suppose a nut and bolt, and you fix a price. At that price, you must make it in order to sell the car for $5,000 when you put all of them together. That's what we are trying to do. And this car was very, very successful. It's a very, very basic car. No air conditioning, no power window, no nothing. And people say that it's not good. You have to learn how to add value. I'm coming at how to add value. You have to say something that will convince people. Most people are not able to say, and I test it all the time. Why should I buy your product? It's good, that will not work. I'll give you some more examples, but I want to give you the context first. So this car, people have started saying, oh, this is a very basic, it's not nice car, but it is a better than motorcycle. Actually, this car failed. Actually, what happened is that, but that's a different story. It fell down. It failed because they still make it, but now they have put air conditioning, they have put a power window, and all those things. So cost has gone up. So it failed because what happened is that if you know his life, house is the most expensive thing that you will buy in your lifetime. House, most expensive thing over a period of your life. Second, perhaps car. Unless you want to spend too much money on your wedding. So wedding may be second, but I leave it out. So what happens is that when you buy a car, if you don't have a car, people don't know that you are poor. But when you buy a cheap car, you are saying that I'm a cheap. So after working 20 years, if you buy this kind of car, you are actually labeling that I'm cheap. So that's the reason that this car was not very successful. But that is not my point. My point is that you can develop a product at a lower price that customer would want. This car is still very much in demand. I give you an example, few more examples of market-oriented companies. They have done remarkably well, very, very well. And they are from developing countries. These examples I'm not giving you from America or Canada. These have happened in emerging markets. Take another example of this. QQ. I don't know if you know this QQ car. QQ car is a Chinese car. It's the same. Very, very basic, very, very nice. But the same problem they also have. People don't like QQ car because they think that it's cheap. Okay. But still, I think it's better than walking, or better than driving a scooter, or things like that. You know. Take this example of this watch. Can you imagine? This is the thinnest watch in the world. Thinnest. If you just see it, only 3.5 millimeter. If you see the thickness of the watch, that's the quality. If you say quality, high quality, what quality watch? Is it light? Is it thin? Is it good? 3.0 millimeter is a very, very nice car, and all made in India. World's thinnest watch and cheapest. Of course, it is quartz because you would not be able to make it mechanical. And I'm thinking that how to make a mechanical watch which is 3.5 millimeter. Okay. Actually, some companies are trying to do it. Some companies are trying to do it, but I'll talk about that later. But the point is that there are some companies that have done very, very well. So the point is that these companies have created a value. So what is value? Anything value means that anything that you like is a source of that value. But you must like. How to add value? It's a simple concept. I just wanted to show you. Some of you know it, but I wanted. If I have a commodity means what? Everybody is selling the same thing. Everybody. Commodity, like a salt, sugar, milk, everybody is selling. You cannot make money by selling salt and sugar, ever. You have to add value. So what I did, how to add value? I put it in a bag, increase the price. I made a cup of tea, but you can remember, this cup has no brand. I have not done branding. I just took the beans and I just made a tea, but I increased the price. But the moment I did branding, labeled it, price has gone maybe 10 times, 15 times, 20 times. That's what we need to do. What we need to do is that we need to find out how to add value. I say simple, if you do not understand value, just understand one thing. What do you like in a product? Whatever you like is a source of value. If you like a color, that's the value. You are getting a value from that product. So if you see this one, they label it and they say experience. A Starbucks coffee, if you really see, it's a very, very tasty. It's a very, very nice. It's really very, very nice. But it's a very, very expensive. The point here is that they know how to add value. Small beans, they increase the price 10 times and people drink it. Even in a country like Cambodia, I go there. So you cannot drink a $3 coffee when you make a $3 a day. Huge queue. Still people buy. Point is that we need to learn how to create value. Take example these brands. The point I'm trying to make is that we are still at market oriented. The point here is that you must be known for something. What is the source of your value? That's what your customers would like. That's what they would need. Take example of FedEx. There were so many courier companies at that time, and it is a company when I was growing up. So what do? If so many companies are offering courier services, FedEx said, I have to be different. What they did? They said, oh, you can track my shipment. You come to FedEx, you can track. And they spent a lot of money on developing a software where you can only track your shipment. FedEx is one of the largest companies in the world. Same case is with the DHL. But FedEx, overnight delivery. Overnight. Experience, if you see, for Starbucks, Nike, do the right thing. They always say ethical. So you have to have something to say. Take example of Harvard MBA and MIT. Both of them offer MBA program. Both of them. There is no competition. I don't know why people talk about competition. I never liked the idea of competition and having or ranking them and giving them the best or second best, third best. There is no such thing. Olympic, if you go for Olympic, they give you gold medal, bronze. How does it matter? You went for Olympic, you are equally good. There's no need to compete. If you are different and good, no need to compete. Take example of Harvard and MIT. They are classic examples. They don't compete. Both of them have, I think, a $50 billion endowment. Simple. They have value. If you want to do a general MBA, if you want to become a general manager of any company, even in a military or even in a politics, go for Harvard. But if you want to become a technical manager, having engineering degree, then go to MIT. There is no dispute here, no competition here. Both of them have a very clearly defined value. Why do you want to go to Harvard or why do you want to go to MIT? I wanted to give an example of my university, how my university is different. And I like my university very much. I'm there for 17 years. Many people came, went, but I will stay there. Why? Because my university in Canada is one of the few universities, I think there are only 6, that have the concept of mixing science and arts together, which means even if you do study BSc, you have to take 5 courses from arts and humanities, and vice versa. That is our source of value. And we are very good in making diplomats because of this concept. At undergraduate level, we are excellent. If you talk to our graduates, I mean, if I just put them in training for 1 year attached to embassy, they are ready to become a junior envoy. They are that good. Point I'm trying to make is that you need to know what is your source of value to be market oriented. What you are known for. Most people don't know. Take example of Apple, and I like Apple. You know, Steve Jobs, he used to tell straight. He said, I don't talk big things, Steve Jobs, strategy and all that. He said, our next product should be thinner and lighter. So you do anything that you can make it thinner and lighter, and we will accept that. A strategy in 2 words, thinner and lighter. So we need to have that kind of clarity in terms of product development. What do we want to do? Okay, for example, in our case. So here are some of the examples of this having a market-oriented products. So you need to add value. You need to find out. It will take time. But I don't think it should take more than 6 months if you do brainstorming in your company, wherever you are. But you have to do it. You have to find out what do it stand for. Even Mercedes customizes. Can you believe this? They don't need to do it. Why? If they don't do it, then BMW will do it. It's equally good. Or Audi. Again, Mercedes, Audi, and BMW. They don't compete. They all have 3 different sets of customers. You have a certain personality that will match, and those who buy Mercedes are different from those who buy Audi. Okay, so they are very different. They don't compete. It's a big picture. I wanted to give you some idea before I move to outsourcing, and then we combined it together to develop a new product. I do not want you to only believe that you can have a value or competitive advantage only by being cheap. I actually don't like being cheap. I actually want to increase the price. Because if I sell a product for only $1, how much money I can make, really? Unless you're a Walmart and you sell at a very high speed, at a fast-moving consumer goods. If you do that, then maybe okay. But everybody is not in that position. So I wanted to give you some examples where companies are so good and so intelligent. I really admire their product development managers. Those who can increase the price and create the value so much that customers want to have that product. Take example of this watch. This watch, actually, sometimes I laugh if you see this. This watch has 900 parts, 900 mechanical parts, as opposed to 90 parts in an ordinary mechanical watch. He made 10 times more. And you know what he says? If you see this, Frank Muller, I don't know if you know this watch company. If you know this, you will know. The value of this watch is most complicated watch. If you like most complicated watch, you just buy this. People, yes. Value is the most complicated watch. It's a very thick. It's not 3.5 millimeter. I think it will be 12 mm if you go by the thickness. $40,000, $50,000. Why? Because there are people who like beauty. Those who like what do you call it? Craftsmanship. They like engineering. Can you imagine assembling 900 small gears to make sure that when this gear moves to 24 hours, then a small gear moves to 1 bit to change the date? This ratio should be 1:30. There are so many. Increase the price. People like it. People like it, because you have your own segment. Okay. This bicycle, $25,000 bicycle. People buy because it is the lightest. Again, I'm staying at a message. I'm not trying to entertain you. I'm not a joker. Value. Why this is light? This is light because it is made from the same material that we use to make aircraft. You can just lift it just like this. Value. The point I'm trying to make is that you can create value by being cheap, and you also create value by being expensive. There's no problem there. But you have to say something. They create value for 3 generations. And that's why I like the mission of our university here, Regent. That will impact generations, not just one generation, even beyond. If you buy a watch, because this watch will outlive you. It will outlive your children also. So actually it can be also used by your grandchildren. So can you imagine, even if you spend so much money, it's worth it. Because you are using it maybe for 100 years, 150 years. Beyond lifetime value. Very, very nice. It's very, very nice. Sometimes companies will cheat you because they cannot be market oriented. See this? When you go and order burger, market oriented. You like a seat, but when you go there, that's what you get. They are cheating. It's not nice. You go to a store, they'll tell you it will fit very well. You know, so many times it happened. You went, you bought a suit or frock or something, you came home, put on only twice, and you never put on again. What went wrong? It went wrong because somebody cheated you. And also you did not know how to buy. Okay. So here now, see this. That's how they do it at the back. So it will look very nice, but you come and you buy, it will not work. That's why when you come home, no, I'm trying to get across a point. Trying to get across a point is this. You went home, you bought a product, it did not fit you or you didn't like it, but you did not return. So when you did not return, I did not get the business intelligence. I did not get the chance to improve it. So you are also at fault. You don't tell me. That's why Walmart, you know, especially in Canada, because you know Canada is a country of immigrants, Walmart writes big board, please return, please return. Because when you return, it's the intelligence. I will manage my product development by the return. So because most of us are immigrants and we have the culture of not returning it, so they cannot develop the product. So they want to return the product so that we can improve it. So let me come to now, I've given you enough talk on market orientation. Customers' needs, to create a value, they will want it. I gave you enough examples. But if you do it by yourself, it will be expensive if you're trying to do it yourself, if you're trying to be market oriented. So that's why you need to do it, that you need to, if you cannot do it, you can ask somebody else to do it for you. So but it should be strategic. So let me give you an example of this outsourcing. And what is strategic outsourcing? Strategic. Most people use the word strategy in a very loose way. Strategic is this. I do not want to outsource this only because it is cheap. That will give you some competitive advantage, but that competitive advantage will not last long. Because the country that is giving you the cheapness or advantage, that country will become expensive over a period of time. And that's what happened. In America, most call centers went to India. It was cheap at that time, 10 years ago. Now they all are becoming expensive. Where they will go now? Maybe Thailand? 5 years' time, again Thailand will be more expensive. Where they will go? Vietnam? Or maybe after that they come to Africa? So they will keep moving. Every time you move, you lose. A rolling stone never gather mass. You will lose it. You cannot keep on rolling it. So the point here is that you need to be strategic. What do I mean by that? What means strategic outsourcing, what I want to make, I can make it. But I intentionally do not make it, because by not making it, I am saving time, money, resources, and that resources I can redirect, which is important to my mission statement, which is critical to my existence. Rest everything I can outsource. So I'll come back to that. So let me give an example so that it will be clear. Suppose I want to drive, but my time is much more important than the time of a driver. So I ask a driver to drive for me, and the time that I have saved by not driving it, I can use it for doing something which is much more important. However, at the same time, I must know how to drive, because if driver is not there, I should be able to drive myself. So that's the whole idea. So companies are very strategic in outsourcing. They can do it, but they don't want to do it because they want to conserve resources. So if you see here, strategically if you do it, it's a very good thing if you are able to do it strategically. And I will give you some example of some companies that they do it and they are very successful in a product development. So when you do outsourcing, one thing is that you are immediately market oriented, because you got their capabilities, you borrowed capabilities, it will keep the cost down, it will improve the lead time, you are very quick. It's very quick, you know. So it's no problem. But the problem here is that if you only outsource, then your own people in your organization may not learn how to do things. So if they don't learn, then you don't develop capability. You do not develop your own capabilities. Or even if you develop it, perhaps it is masked, it is hidden. I personally don't like outsourcing too much unless it is a very strategic. I like most of the thing doing ourselves, maybe 80% or 70%, and most companies do that. Even Apple, Microsoft, they all are very strategic in terms of outsourcing. I will give you some more example, but I want you to be very clear. And then we will combine it together to develop a product. So what we can outsource? People ask all the time, what can be outsourced? You tell me. I say simple, and I want to keep it very, very simple. Of course, you have to do some more analysis. I say only one thing, very, very simple. You go back to your mission statement and see what is most important for your business. What is something which is most important? What is the secret of your success? The thing which is secret or which is very, very critical, you do not outsource that. Other than that, you outsource everything. When I say that I can outsource human resource, I don't need a human resource department, with all due respect to human resource managers here or accounting people here. In Canada and America, half of the human resource department, we don't need it. All hiring, everything is done by our consultants. Same cases with our accounting. Everything is done by. So these are the all peripheral activities can be outsourced. So you just focus on what you are good at. Just focus. Don't try to do too many things. That's the problem we have. We try to do too many things and do not become good at any of that. See, however, if your brand is very well known, very high quality, for example, or luxury goods, then it may be possible that your brand will more than offset the negative perception of outsourcing it. It may happen. For example, some brands we know. Take example of Apple. Apple makes iPhone in China. That's fine. But everything is designed in USA. Everything designed in USA. All the machines that you see in China, they all are American. The only thing that they use Chinese is the Chinese labor. Rest everything is American. That's why quality is so high. Okay. So let us see some of the examples where we have combined outsourcing and with the market orientation. So you have to be very, very, very critical in terms of what you can outsource and what you cannot outsource. Take example of Apple, very, very successful. Can you imagine? I mean, who would like to buy $1,000 iPhone? It's not a joke. Believe me, it's a lot of money. Especially I see here people also, they use iPhone. It's so good for you. I believe you are very rich. But, here's the value. I'm trying to get across a point. Why do you need iPhone here? If you are using your iPhone only for texting and calling, then you are not getting any value from the iPhone. iPhone is actually a computer. I use iPhone, a lot of things I do on my iPhone, a lot of, including maintenance of the website, including web analysis, everything here right now, just give me internet access. So I try to get value because I have spent $1,000, you see. But you still buy. You still buy because you like the look of it. So that is the source of value for you. You just like the very nice. So nice is the source of value, and Apple knows it. Apple knows it. That's what you like. So you like, you pay. And what you like, it should be sustainable. Like a marriage. You must like me forever. You see, it's like this. This one, 7-Eleven, some of you know this. 7-Eleven is a classic example. 7-Eleven at one time, long time ago, when I was very young, people say at that time that, I don't know because I was young, people say that 7-Eleven used to do everything by themselves, 100%. At some point, they used to have their own cows. But now they learned the importance of strategic outsourcing. So what they did is that now they have gotten rid of everything. Okay, now they outsource, except one thing, which is retailing. 7-Eleven is very good in retailing. They have very good software and they are very good in analysis. In fact, they are so good that they know the taste of the people and they place juice depending upon the taste of the area. If in that area people like orange juice, they know the orange juice will sell more, so that's why they will put orange juice because it's intelligence, they know it, and things like that. So it's a very, very successful, actually. If you want to read a case study actually on 7-Eleven, you should do it. Harvard Business Review has published a case on 7-Eleven. How 7-Eleven was losing money by doing 100% on their own. And they were not outsourcing it, and now it turned around. One of the most successful companies in the world, actually. If you go to Hong Kong, every corner you will see 7-Eleven franchising. Take example of this. Do you know this plane? C919? Made in China. Can you imagine? Same. Chinese people are very smart. They got the engine from the Boeing, from the US, and rest everything is Chinese. For the first time that it is made outside Europe and US, a commercial aircraft. Already 600 orders are there, 600 orders. Very smart. They know how to be market oriented. Demand is there, aviation is booming, we need more aircrafts, but they're very smart. They are not able to make engines. And I don't need to make engines. Why to reinvent the wheel? It's a dangerous thing. We have tested engines, use that engine, arrest all of the things we make. It has passed all quality control checks. See, it is ready to fly now. C919, you can check it, and it is very affordable, cheap also. 2 more slides. So what we need to do is that now we know this market orientation. You need to develop a product, what you want, and how to create a value. So when you do market orientation, what I mean is that you are doing it by yourself. So you have to balance it with outsourcing. Outsourcing means that you can ask other people to do it. But there are different kind of managers. If you do it yourself, it's a time consuming. It can be very, very time consuming, depending upon the product. I give an example. If you are trying to make a whiskey, 20-year-old whiskey, what will happen 20-year-old whiskey? I mean, you make it now, when you wait until 20 years, who can wait until 20 years? But if you want to do it yourself, you can do it. It's no problem if you have that kind of resources. Point is that some products have delayed or lag time. Okay, so you cannot just sell it immediately after making it. Same case with wine. Wine, at least you have to wait for 6 months, maybe 1 year before you can sell it, as opposed to other products. So you have to just balance it. So when people go for market-oriented strategy, they want to do it themselves, they want to learn, and we call it a learning organization. Everybody in the organization is learning. So you are taking risk. So here is the one diagram here, which is the last slide now. And that's what we need to focus. So if you see on the horizontal, it is outsourcing, low and high. And it's a market orientation, low and high. So what you need to do is that you need to find out in your organization to what extent you are market oriented and to what extent you are outsourcing on a 7-point scale or 10-point scale. Okay, for everything, for all the activities that are important to you. And if you divide a low and high, then you will see here 4 quadrants. Your aim is, and then you plot your company on this chart, so you will have some spot somewhere. Okay, so your aim is to be market oriented. Your aim is to be somewhere here. That's your aim. You need to. So most of us will start from here, low in market orientation, low in outsourcing. So in order to go up, you have a certain routes. So for example, either you can go up straight if you have that kind of resources, you can, because your aim is to be in the upper quadrant or upper half. Or you're going to go straight there and then you can come back if you want. Or you go straight here. That is a very good strategy. Most companies do it. What they do is that they cannot be market oriented, so they try to increase outsourcing. So you see, if they outsource it, they become cheap and they can compete. And then they go up. And after that, they go up. You see. And then after that, once you are in that quadrant, or maybe you can go in your left-hand side. Again, the idea is to be up. And once you are up, and then you can do up and down there. You can move laterally. So that's the thing. So if you see here, here is Apple. Very high in outsourcing and very high market-oriented company. But they also take risk. You see, so you can see that if you take a risk, then you are trying to be market-oriented. But you want to avoid risk, then you would like to outsource, because the things are changing very fast and you can sign a contract with your outsourcing people. So here, if you see here, very high in market orientation, low in outsourcing. These are the examples of the products that are very expensive, like luxury products or high-end products. They do it themselves and they keep it at a very high price because they know how to create value and they have own capability. Okay, so that's what I will say, that this is the main thing. And depending on that, you see whether you want to cooperate with someone. You can form alliances, or you can even merge, or you can have linkages, or you can have strategic partnerships. So you can cooperate, or if you want to compete, then you can also compete. But I am a kind of manager, I do not like competing. You can disagree with me. I always like being a different, so there is no need for me to compete. It's like if you go to a mall, I have KFC, I have McDonald's, they don't compete. You want to eat chicken, you go and eat chicken. You want to eat a burger, you eat burger, no problem. Both of them are fast food, both of them are unhealthy. Your choice. At the same time, there's a one guy, entrepreneur, is making a very nice local healthy food, no brand. You want to go eat and eat there. That guy is not selling Coke. That guy, but it's a bit more expensive. It's good. And you should also support local people anyway, local entrepreneurs. With that, I must stop here.